Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? Hey Paula, thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself today. Happy Sunday it is. Happy Sunday. This week has been pretty eventful if you stop and think about it a little bit, right? I mean, regulatory and legislation developments, cryptocurrency market movements, institutional adoption, blockchain innovation, cybersecurity and data breaches. That was big this week. Legal cases, lawsuits, government and central bank digital currency initiatives. So we had so much going on. I mean, I've got like 15 categories of things that pop up, right? For regulatory and legislation developments, we had the U.S. and international regulators proposing new stablecoin rules. We had a couple of governments actually start to announce that, hey, our CBDC is moving forward. So there's a lot going on in that track. So this past week has been eventful. And you know, think about this. The Genius Act came along, and that's what people are talking about. Michael McCaskill into his house. What's good? Thank you for letting me know. But I think that, you know, a lot of people are not paying attention to some of these rules and regulations that are going on around the world. And I think they should, because what affects crypto here is going to affect your bag from over there. It's going to happen. You're talking about the globalization for a new form of the movement of value. It sounds kind of strange, but we're gently moving toward crypto and away from fiat. And some people will tell you, oh no, that's not true, that's not happening, blah 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 blah. And I will tell you, we are absolutely moving away from fiat. What you hear right now about the rules and regulations around crypto, especially that of stablecoins, what you're really listening to are the last of the machinations for the control over respective fiat. What happens when that changes? Yo, Cornell Robinson, thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself today, or are doing so now. So it's a big deal to start paying attention to those things, right? We got into a long conversation on Friday, you know, during Friday Night Flips about denomination. That's where prices are compared to a specific thing, like an anchor, right? Hutanik was thinking it's going to be Bitcoin. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be just one. Hey, Hutanik, what's going on, my man? So the whole thing is that, you know, yeah, we've been talking about it. Our community's been talking about it. But most people out there are not thinking about it. They're just not thinking about it at all, right? It's not something that they're thinking about. Well, you know, fiats are going to die. I mean, let that wash over you for a minute. The dollar has been getting weaker. Other currencies around the world have been getting weaker. People are turning to tangible assets and new assets that aren't controlled by governments. Think precious metals. Think crypto. That's really where people's heads are turning toward. Why do you think institutions are bulking up on crypto? That's literally where they are right now. Right? So you start to realize that, we probably should be thinking about where is money going? And this time I do mean the term money. Different things around, you know, throughout the ages have been used to describe or been used as money. Fiat is money, right? But now what do we do when people are no longer interested in the dollar? Right? What do we do when people are no longer interested in the euro, the yen, the Swiss franc? What are we going to do when the world starts saying, I shouldn't have to spend so much money to move my value? I want to send some of my value to my mom. What's the fastest way I can do that? For right now, yeah, I could do Cash App. But I could have just as easily have done that with Cardano, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. I didn't have to move, fiat. I could have just been like, oh, I'm going to send this to you, and you go, flip it into your account. You'll be fine. I could have done that. What happens if in the future she wanted to borrow some money, or I was sending her a birthday gift or Christmas gift or whatever, and it happened to be value, right? Usable value. What happens if I send her that usable value in a crypto? Because she can use that crypto at a store to pay bills. That's where we're going. That's why I'm asking. So what's that about? So when I say pay attention to not just what's happening in your given country, but seriously start paying attention to what's going on outside of your country, especially if you're in the United States. And you're probably wondering why I call out the United States. This country, with all our technology and everything that we have and everything that's going, we are so hyper-focused only from within that we're not looking outside and beyond, and we're not hearing or seeing what's outside and beyond the country. And we need to. You want to truly manage your bags? You're going to have to do that. I keep telling people, stop thinking that everything begins and ends in the United States. Stop thinking that from a value perspective. You know how many companies in the United States invest overseas? There's a reason why they do that. There's a reason why they do that. And it's not because they don't have faith in the United States. It's just because there are opportunities beyond the United States. So if there are rules governing a particular thing in another country, and it involves value, it's probably going to affect where you are. So other countries are paying attention to the Genius Act. The same way we were paying attention to other countries as they started rolling out CBDCs. Proofs of concept, real rolling out of CBDCs, the digitizing of the Chinese yuan. I don't know how to pronounce it, so sorry about that. But so think about that. That's a lot. And you start to realize that, holy moly, yeah, outside the United States is going to affect me. Whatever country you're in, the rules of other countries that affect, value are going to affect your value at some point in some way, shape, or form. It's as simple as that. It really is. Right? So you've got all kinds of crypto law debates going on around the world, especially around CBDCs and especially around stable coins. Wow, I just saw two beautiful hawks land right next to each other. Nuts. So those are some of the things I'm looking at. You had some whales sell off on Bitcoin. Now you've got whales buying. By the way, when I say whales selling off, I don't know that they actually sold off as much as they moved the coin, right? Movement of large sums of coin will send shockwaves. But amazing how the purchasing of certain kinds of coin by those same entities don't really move the price up. I said it out loud, full chested even. BlackRock's IBIT buys Bitcoin a lot. Strategy buys Bitcoin a lot. Basically, Strategy buys like almost every Monday. Does that move the market? No. OTC. But let them just move some of their crypto from one wallet to another, and people lose their ever-loving minds. They lose their ever-loving minds. Such and such moved crypto over to Coinbase. Coinbase is their custodian. What are you shocked about? In most cases, Coinbase really is the custodian. And you sit there and you just kind of go, why are people freaking out? And then sooner or later, they realize, oh, yeah, we're freaking out for no reason. We should probably not do that. And markets come back to where they are. But still, these things move things. So when I look at everything, I'm kind of like, well, when was the last time you looked at the events over a given week, what their effects are, and how that might affect you in the coming week? I try to do it every Sunday, like today, because there's news out there that we've forgotten about. So we had the Genius Act actually get signed into law, but there were 2 other bills that got sent on to the Senate here in the United States. Think about that. So they're not being debated right now. Why? Because, Congress is out. But still, they're next up for next session. And that's when you start to realize, oh, that'll be interesting. And you have laws going on around the world looking at crypto and the governance thereof. Wow. Right? Ethereum is taking off. A lot of people have been writing that out. Just writing it off, rather. And I kind of sit there and I kind of go, why would you sleep on one of the most connected coins on the planet? It is the connective tissue of Web3. Not the only piece, but it's a huge piece. After them, BNB. Facts. After that, arguably, you could say it's going to be Solana. There's one catch to Solana, though. What is it? 50% of their traffic, 50 plus percent of their traffic is pump.fun. 80% of that traffic is bots, which means that if you translate that back to Solana, 40% of their traffic is BS because it's bots. What are those bots doing? They're playing around with memes. So Elliot and I had a conversation today, and he was like, yeah, I was listening to a couple of people that, a couple of traders that I pay attention to, and they were both like, you should have like 40% of your portfolio, in crypto. And he's like, so I'm thinking about maneuvering some of my crypto. So I'm thinking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, and he goes, the big 3. And I sat there and I was like, that's not the big 3. And he said, what? I said, that's not the big 3. I said, the big 3 are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. And he said, what? I said, yeah, that's the big 3. Solana's a distant number 4. And he was like, really? I was like, dude, yeah. After that comes BNB. Then comes Solana. Because we're not talking about Tether, right? You're talking about, coins that you think you can make money off of. And you kind of go, whoa, wait a minute. I said, yeah. I said, something else that happened over this past week that people weren't paying attention to, that hardly anybody caught, except for us, because I told you guys about it. Solana Foundation has been named as a part of a RICO case. Yes, it is a civil RICO case, but RICO is RICO. And even if Solana was not mentioned in that RICO case, and this is what I wanted to bring up, even if Solana had not been mentioned in that RICO case, 40% of your traffic is based off of bots, which are doing nothing but pumping meme coins. So that's a twofold hit, right? You don't make money when the meme coins go away, right? And you lose all that traffic, something that you've been bragging about for so long. Aha. That's a problem. DMAC, I don't know how. I do not know how. Right? I really don't understand how people don't. And you know what? I actually can. And the reason why is because you're talking about people that most likely do not follow crypto. They do not follow crypto. And they automatically think, oh, Solana. Because when you look on the news, like CNBC, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, they totally bypass XRP. They totally bypass BNB. They totally bypass Tether. To think about that. You skip all that to get down to number 6. Number 6. Right? Number 6. How are you not paying attention to BNB? And BNB, I hope you're all sitting down. BNB is at an all-time high. They're at $830, or it's at $830. Its previous all-time high was $804.10. BNB's market cap is now $115 billion. And Solana is still stuck at $101 billion. Again, Hutanic, go check your facts before you start spewing that stuff. It's not. XRP is not centralized. XRPL is. There's a difference. There's a massive difference. Massive. So please, get those facts straight. Get those facts straight. Are they surface level people, or are their brains wired for different things? Like Elliot doesn't do crypto for the most part. He does stocks, bonds, options. He's a stock head. He's not a crypto head. So crypto is not something that rings in his head all too quickly. And since he doesn't know it, he's kind of like, well, let me think something long term. So I made the correction for him, and I said, oh, well, it's these 3 are the tops. Hutanic, you can go do your own research. You want to know the answer to that? Go look it up yourself. I could care less. You're trying to make an argument for what reason? Understand why people are investing in certain things. I'm not investing in XRP because it's involved in a DEX. I could care less. That's not a part of my criteria. It's not a part of a lot of people's criteria. My reasoning for buying into XRP is because of the movement of value. The movement of value. And it has a really fast system to be able to do that. If I'm looking at something that could go after Ethereum, obviously XRP is next. You don't have to be involved in a DEX to be a successful coin. Okay, so state the questions differently, because it comes off like you're trying to start a fight instead of trying to make a point. You should say what the point is. That might be a little bit more helpful. Just a thought. But, back to D-Mac's thing, a stock head is different than a crypto head. Right? Very similar set of skills that you're going to be paying attention to. But in terms of splitting your head to be able to do the research, his choice was, I'm going to concentrate on stocks because it's something I know. I know how it moves. I know why it moves. Crypto, on the other hand, and this is where I think people fail. Crypto, on the other hand, which is why we have this specific show. People don't turn around and look at the past week, and say, how is that going to be effective going forward? People don't do that. And the reason why I do that is because news can move crypto in massive ways. Whereas what moves stocks? Numbers move stocks. I'm not saying that news doesn't move stocks, right? Or the stock market. But numbers move stocks. Numbers move stocks. Who controls the numbers? Bots. They're not called bots on that side. Electronic trading. But they're freaking bots. right? We were speaking about this last week. So Elliot has like 3 different applications that will give him alerts based on different criteria, different trading parameters. People are talking about risk. That's the risk. It's going to ding him on, hey, you should sell because this is looking bad. Hey, you should buy because this is looking good. Hey, you should leave this alone because everything seems set. Risk framework. I keep telling people to go back to their risk framework. I keep telling people to work on developing their risk framework and their style of investment and apply that to what they're doing. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Start here. So what else do we have? Institutional adoption in corporate treasuries. Several firms, including firms like firms from Japan and Brazil, adopting Bitcoin as a part of treasury strategies. But not just Bitcoin now. BNB, Bitcoin, Ethereum, even XRP. Yes, there's one out there for Solana. Who is it? Rex, something like that. I forget the name of the company. I really could care less because I can tell you guys now, I have almost no interest in Solana right now. I'm still going to cover, things, but I don't have a lot of interest. There is 0 DEX. I'm happy for you that's why you're in the system. So again, I'm going to say it again in case you didn't hear me, because apparently you didn't. Not everybody cares about DEXs. Let me rephrase. There are DEXs out there that you can use with XRP. What you're asking for is there a DEX built on XRP? Why does there have to be? It's irrelevant. Why does there have to be a DEX built on XRP for XRP to be successful? It's irrelevant. As long as there is a DEX that trades XRP or leverages XRP, that's it. Why are you going to reinvent the wheel? What about, exchanges that are built on specific coins or specific blockchains that serve that specific blockchain? What do you need it for? What's the point of that? What are you doing? What value does that bring that you can't get from other sources? It's irrelevant. So I don't know what kind of point you're trying to make, but that's irrelevant. To me, that's patently irrelevant. That might be how you do things. But the people in XRP Army that I know, that's irrelevant. That's an irrelevant piece of information. Happy you believe in it. Yeah, I'm not going to have an argument about DEXs. What's the purpose of a DEX? You want to make a point. What's the purpose of a DEX? I want to buy, sell, trade a given coin or whatever, right? That's the purpose of a DEX. And I need a DEX to be on a specific platform because what? Because what? Are you looking at the involvement of a DEX as involvement in DeFi? Is that where you're going with this? Because there's a huge difference between DeFi and processes within the DeFi infrastructure versus what I'm going to do with a DEX, a decentralized exchange. So is that where you're going with the idea of a DEX? That's your humble opinion. So if you don't like it, then don't buy it. Nobody wants to keep hearing you say the same thing over and over again. You don't like it, don't buy it. Simple as that. How you manage your bag is different than how I'm going to manage my bag, is different than how DMAC is going to manage his bag, is different than Captain Banana or Paula or anybody within the community is going to manage their bags. I honestly don't care about how others manage their bags. You want to know what I do care about? The thought behind the management of their bags. What research are you doing that helped you get to that point? I might not agree with this point, but I might agree with how you got there. That's what I care about. What was your thought process? Your final decision, how it affects your bag, I'm cool with that. That's fine. That's none of my business. That's why I don't care, because it's none of my business. Keep my little nose out of your business. I do care about how you think. How did you process that information that you got? That's interesting. Maybe I should think about that. Not your decision on how you use that information, but what did you think about that information, right? I compile data. I transform that data into information. I transform that information into actual knowledge. Knowledge to me is that this is how you can apply something. Right? So I don't care how you manage your bag. I care about how you're interpreting certain things. Because that might help me, not necessarily to come to your conclusion, but might help me understand why you got to that conclusion. I don't have to agree with it. But if I understand why, that might help me to backtrack and go, oh, I see the pattern for that thought process. Big difference. That's helpful to me. That's very helpful to me. Right? I can listen to 1 million people and they all say you need to invest instead of save. Awesome. So I'm like, that's huge. That's helpful. But one does high yield savings accounts. The other one does stocks. The other one does treasuries only. The other one does crypto only. The other one does this. The other one does that. How they utilize that information is different in each case. How they interpret that information is very helpful. Right? So that's what I look at. So I could care less about other stuff. That doesn't matter. You don't like XRP? Don't buy it. Nobody's going to care. I don't like Solana. I'm not going to buy it. Nobody's going to care. Some people look at that and go, it's a short term maybe. Just because there's a court case doesn't mean that they're going to lose. I tend to think of it as, if there's a court case, you're going to have to negotiate. Either you're going to go to battle or you're going to have to negotiate to make it go away. So for me, it's a question of which way is it going to go? Because now that you've been named, now that it's been expanded to include you and others, I had somebody say, well, they don't think that court case is going to go anywhere. And I'm like, no, that court case is going somewhere. It's absolutely going to go somewhere. And I don't see how you can compare Solana to XRP. They're nowhere near the same. Nowhere near the same. XRP is at $191 billion. Solana is at 101. It's almost 2x. And they don't do the same thing. They do not do the same thing. They do not have the infrastructure that XRPL has, that Ripple has. They don't have any of that. They don't have any of that. Not the same. Okay, now I'm just going to ignore you because now you're just saying stupid shit to say stupid shit. I really don't care. What else happened last week that we should be paying attention to? Tokenized stocks is a big topic, and it's a growing topic. Huge. Huge. Don't forget the battle that's going on between Robinhood and OpenAI. It's not really a battle as much as it's an annoyance for OpenAI. OpenAI is like, why'd you do that? It's because we can. Nobody said that we can't. So Robinhood said, we're going to do it. We did it. Done. Unless the SEC or CFTC come along and say, no, you're not allowed to do that. Now, here's the kicker. Here's why I don't think they're going to do that. Overseas, you had a company take BlackRock stock and tokenize it. Remember I told you about that. It was a whole big thing. Everybody thought BlackRock tokenized something, and it was BlackRock, and it wasn't. It was a company that's holding BlackRock stock that tokenized their stock. Big. The SEC didn't go after them. If you're doing something with a U.S. stock, well, that falls under the SEC no matter where the hell you are. They did nothing. They did nothing. Huh? So I don't think they're going to go after. I don't think they're going to go after Robinhood for doing the same thing here. I really don't. Let's get back to this. At $25, you won't hear from me for a while. Rick Ritchie, that's really nice of you. It is. Hutanic, that was just a rude statement. It's disappointing. Right? Everybody buys things because they want to buy things. I'm not going to chastise you because you want to buy something. You like fart? Go buy it. You like Pepe? Go buy it. I've been following XRP for years. Ripple took the time to build out a huge platform. It's bigger than what most people think. They think they know a lot about it, and it just, every time you turn around, there's something else. Excuse me. Which is why when I look at the XRP army, yeah, they're not pleased that it's only right now at $3.22 with an all-time high of $3.84. At $4, D-Mac's going to be, maybe holding a dinner party for me. I don't know. All jokes aside, at $25, you got a lot of people. And, I can look at certain platforms and I can say, yeah, it could get there. It can absolutely get there. I was talking about BNB Chain, for example. I've been talking about BNB Chain for a long time. People didn't believe, it's not going to get there. It's not going to get there. Look at how fast it went from 700 up to all-time high. Just saying, you have to be able to look at the infrastructure of a coin beyond the tokenomics. Just what has it been doing? What is it used for? Who's using it? Banks, before everything happened, so many companies were using XRP. Right now, I'm looking at Pith and Chainlink, right? Chainlink, there's nobody even close to what Chainlink does as an oracle. Not even close. Arguably, you could say Pith has better tech. Do you know how far they have to go to have the data that Chainlink has? The connectivity, the interoperability that Chainlink has? I don't count them out, obviously. But damn. But I've been saying to people, hey, Chainlink is going to pop. Chainlink is going to pop. People are like, oh, Chainlink is slow. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. Yeah, okay. It's not going to do anything until it does. It's not going to do anything until it does. And then you sit there and you're kind of like, well, the same thing can be said for XRP. The same thing can be said for BNB. The same thing could be said for Ethereum. The same thing, truthfully, could still be said about Bitcoin. Oh, it's been asleep for so long. It's been asleep for snoring. It's been asleep for so long. Sounds like Cardano again, doesn't it? Oh, it's been asleep for so long. Next thing you know, you blinked, and freaking Cardano right now, this second, is at 82 cents. I remember when it was way lower than that. Way lower. And you're kind of like, damn, that's... So looking at what happened over the past week, it seems like there's been a rebirth of NFTs. Oh yeah, I forgot about that cyberpunk thing, right? Yeah. There's been a rebirth of NFTs. And I think as NFTs continue that stride on the way back, I think memes start to go like this. Because NFTs have a use. NFTs have many use cases. Memes have jack. Memes have jack. I think over the next year, you're going to see meme coins just drop. And for a platform like Solana, they're going to have to get a lot of builders on that platform. Real builders. Problem is, real builders are like, who's doing DeFi? Let's go build there. Yeah. Who's doing RWA? Let's go build there. You want to know who I think is going to be an up-and-comer in that space? Freaking Avalanche. Freaking Avalanche. Ethereum tokenomics are way better than XRP for sure. Yeah, of course, by far. I said, it's almost like a 2x. And? In my opinion, Chainlink is the most valuable crypto in the space. What do you mean by most valuable? Do you mean like in terms of potential? Is that what you're thinking? Rick, is that what you're thinking? Because for me, Chainlink, is it the most valuable? Is it the most valuable? If I think about it from a potential perspective, I don't know that I would say it's the most valuable. One of, not the. And you're probably sitting there going, it's not the only one. Connective tissue, right? Chainlink is only one of the connective tissue. It's only one of. There's a pack of coins that you could say Web3 is held together by these coins. Yep. From that perspective, that's what you have to think of. And I have to tell you something, and a lot of people are going to have a real big problem with this. If I'm thinking about the movement of value, I have to put XRP in that space. No, Link is not DNS. Why do you try to make such comparisons, man? Link is not DNS. I don't even think about it like that. It controls data. It enables you to match data. Match information from the real world to information over here. That's not figuring out where it goes. That's allowing you to match what works. It's saying, oh, you're looking for this? I happen to have it. I can give you access to that. I mean, if the price is right, I can give you access to that. Now, do I think that Pith will come along? Pith is going to survive and do well just because newer, faster tech. At some point, Chainlink's going to have to step up their game. Newer, faster tech. But still, Chainlink, it's if I was going to compare it to something, it wouldn't be DNS. I would compare it to something like LexisNexis. I would compare it to LexisNexis. Don't know who they are? If you blew your nose and used a piece of tissue, they have that data. Like, they control more data than you think. So I look at Chainlink as LexisNexis. If there was a company that could come along and outdo Chainlink like that, it would be LexisNexis. They have access to everything. Everything. I mean, right now it's actually Palantir, right? Everybody talks about Palantir. It's the name that's out there. But LexisNexis, Rick Ritchie, I don't even know what that means. You've given no context on that. They're in the same place. That's great. I don't know what context that is, except that you don't like XRP. So if you don't like XRP, you don't like XLM, you don't like Algo, although they all move value very quickly and very cheaply and are very secure. So I'm afraid that you're letting that whole U.S. sentiment, seep into your brain, because XLM is highly used. It's used in a major fashion all over the world, specifically for the movement of value. Specifically, not for institutions like XRP, but for regular people. That's what XLM's focus is. And Algo is also very fast, very cheap, very secure. So I get it. That's how you feel about it. Totally understand. That's how you think about it. I just think that you might be short of some additional research that might help you. Not to try to convince you to buy it, but at least to stop trying to put certain labels on certain coins because you don't have all the data. That's something I would tell you to be careful of, because the same way that you're doing it to this one is the same way you could wind up doing it to the next one. And that might not be healthy for you. It's the same way that I had to stop and rethink Ondo. I had to stop and rethink Ondo. I had to stop and rethink Ton, right? I didn't have access to enough data. I hadn't bothered to go do that research. Once I did, it was like, oh, maybe I should go have some of that. So I do. Right? I had to stop myself and go do some research on it. That was the whole plan. So totally understand where people come from with regard to certain coins. Make sure you have access to all the data that you need to make those kinds of judgments. And don't be afraid to say, oh, I was wrong about that. And don't be afraid to say, you know what, I was wrong about that. Maybe I should go get some. Because it could just as easily be, oh, I think I was wrong about that. I should go sell that. Like, there are people out there right now that have total faith in XRP and, in Solana. And I'm just like, nah, I made my money off of Solana. I'm not returning. For me to return to Solana has to correct a couple of things. Network reliability, decentralization, and security. And they're going to have to show me how they're resilient, because I think it's only a matter of time. Like I said, I think it's within the next year that they're going to lose all of that meme traffic. Looking at the past week and how they got brought into that whole thing, and you start looking at the numbers that the Rico, that Rico case, and you start looking at the numbers from Pump That Fund, that's when I stop and say, yeah, if they lose the traffic from meme coins, they've got big problems. Big problems. Because if they drop enough, I'm looking at it now, if they drop enough and they get surpassed by Doge just keeps doing what it does, Cardano just keeps doing what it does, and Solana drops, I can definitely tell you USDC is going to surpass Solana. It might not be soon, but they're on a track. It's possible it can surpass Solana by the end of the year. It's only $36 billion. Sounds nuts, but Circle's been making deals to move value. Just saying. Just because I don't invest has nothing to do with the fact that XLM, XRP, Algo are in the same mindset. I mean, it's still what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying anything against it. I'm just saying make sure you've done the research on it. That's what I said. And I'm never wrong. I might be mistaken, but never wrong. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna let you have that. Whatever. I'm gonna let you. If that's what you believe, go ahead. Be strong about it. That's cool. That's you. I can admit when I'm wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. Wrong is wrong. Mistaken is totally different. Me being wrong is me not doing enough research on something. I take that as me being wrong. You might take it as, oh, I'm just mistaken. Nah, I don't look at it as mistaken. I didn't do enough research on Nando when it first came out. I didn't do enough research on Toncoin when it was still young, and I could have made ridiculous amounts of money. I didn't do enough research. Certain coins, I can tell you off the top of my head, yeah, I'll sprinkle into that. I'll sprinkle into that. I'll sprinkle into that one, and that one. I can tell you that about a lot of coins. Other ones, yeah. Hey, Rod, shut up. I've been sleeping on Psy for so long. I just have not had time to do the research on it. And I know it's doing well. You know what I mean? It's one of those coins where I'm like, oh yeah, I can. But for me, in my tiny little pea brain, I'd have to be in a position to create a slot for it, which I think Hyperliquid is one, Psy is another one. And I had to stop and think, like, do I have the capacity to create, more slots? And I was just like, no, I don't. I don't have the capacity to do that. Because the way I manage my portfolio is I've got big spaces, right? Stocks, the whole stock market thing, bonds, options, that whole space, right? Then you've got businesses, I've got a whole space. Then I've got crypto, which is a whole space. And then within each one of those, I have kind of those sub slots that I have for all that. But if something in another area picks up and I go, oh, that's an opportunity. Elliot and I were talking about another business today, something that we could do easily given the tools that we already have. And I was like, that only takes a little bit of time. That doesn't even take money. So now I don't have that extra slot here to put into Psy or Say. I think it's Psy. I don't have it. It's not a money issue. It's kind of like, do I have the headspace to be able to do it? I don't. And I've been trying to figure out how I can get around that, right? Like, I have to have time to go do the research. I haven't had time. So what did I task my team to do? I tasked my team to go build me a tool that'll do it for me. I only have to point it someplace. We already have it for stocks. We already have it for real estate. And I was like, oh yeah, I should have them do that for me for crypto. Because it's easier to skim through a report than it is for me to actually put that report together. And I have a specific way of pulling together that report that we've now translated into a tool, and they're just building out the tool. Because I don't even want to talk to you now because you're like, don't sleep on it. And I'm like, oh, I know I haven't been sleeping on it. I've been snoring so hard other people can hear me like a couple of towns over. That's how much it sucks when you know you've been sleeping on something. Oh, there's nothing more painful than that. It's more painful. I'll tell you this. It's more I've been through both. It's more painful knowing you're sleeping on something versus realizing you slept on something. That one hurts big. So Rod, you just opened up a wound, poured some diamond salt on that. I don't like you right now, man. I don't like you right now. So yeah, I'm just looking at things, and I'm just looking at what happened over the past week that can affect me going next week. I even spoke about Sai a little bit. I was like, oh, Sai did well. You want to know what else I'm sleeping on? I can tell you right now, something else that I'm sleeping on. Leo. Where is it? Leo. I could be snoring on Leo right now. I could absolutely be snoring on Leo right now. I haven't had time to do research. And every time I look at it come down the list, you hear me? Every time I look at it coming down the list, I'm like, oh man, I haven't done the research on that. It's like an ugly reminder that I haven't done the research on it. It's like, damn. Holy moly. When you look at Leo over the past year. If you look at Leo over the past year, it's ugly. It's ugly. For somebody like me that's been sleeping on it, oh, it's ugly as hell. Ugly as hell. Like, damn. From 2019 to today, holy moly. That's an ugly thought. That go look at it. If you have the chance, go look at Leo. I haven't done the research on it, and it's an ugly sight. It's an ugly sight. For somebody who knows, I've been sleeping on it. Slept on Hyperliquid. I noticed Hyperliquid ages ago, and it just kept going. And there I was, not paying attention. And here is Hyperliquid in the top 15 coins. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. One that I almost slept on was Litecoin. People put Litecoin to sleep, and I'm like, why would you do that? Litecoin's been making moves. It's another one that people sleep on. What else we have? Dogecoin, ZK proofs, and ETH's updates are accelerating what they're capable of doing. No, you know what, Rick Ritchie, you have a point, but for me in this case, it's not a pain point of money this time. It's a pain point of not having the time to be able to look at something. You know what I mean? Like, just not having the time. Having the money, I can deal with that. But not having the time, it's like, dude, you're too busy. You're like, that's where I get hurt. That's literally where I get hurt. So, it's like that. That's a rude comment. Like, gotta love you and your rude comments, man. I don't like rude comments. Digital asset projects. So you still have environmental, social, and ethical aspects. So the whole stablecoin CBDC thing, I think, is going to have an ethics problem. Mergers and acquisitions. I don't see a lot. But corporate strategy as a part of that, GameSquare's NFT purchase, Bitfarm's stock buyback idea, even WazirX is trying to do things. WazirX is going to have an uphill battle. Mind you, I still think banks should go buy exchanges. I really do think a bank needs to go buy an exchange, because I think exchanges, this is their moment. I think I think 5 years down the road, we're going to turn around and we're going to look at this moment where we're going to say, right there, that's when banks should have been buying exchanges. That's when they should have been looking hard. And they didn't. So now you're going to have exchanges that are going to take over traditional banking. You're going to have DeFi take over traditional banking. Within the next 5 years, it'll be commonplace that when you're looking for a car loan, that you're not looking at a bank. You're looking at DeFi resources for the right interest rate. How's that one sound? How's that one sound? So yeah, there's a lot that we need to pay attention to over the next week. Every week I look at what's going to touch me via DeFi. What's happening in the RWA space. Something else that I'm paying really deep attention to because not many people are thinking about it. DPINs. Decentralized physical infrastructure networks. That's something else I'm going to be paying attention to hard over the next week. Because I think it's a space where people aren't getting it. They're missing out. Me being one of them. It's just like energy. A lot of people aren't looking at energy. I have a friend that I went to his house last night and he's like, energy's blowing up, dude. Energy's blowing up. That's his whole business is energy. There's a VC involved in energy. So I'm paying attention to that. Cough is finally going away, believe it or not. But that's what I'm paying attention to, folks. For this coming week, those are the topics. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community because we're trying to have fun and learn from each other. DMAC, I'm happy you feel exceptionally well about what you're invested in. SMR is absolutely going to kill it going forward. But you know what else is going to kill it? SMRs are being built right next door to where they're actually needed. You're going to see the uptick of renewable energy happen at the residential level. That's where I think it's going to go. Even though the tax write-offs is going away, there's a lot of stuff that's going away, I think you're going to see renewable energy pick up at the residential level. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. You want to know who else is going to make money? Freaking storage companies. And one of the ways that they can increase their revenue structure is two things: cell phone towers, solar and or wind energy. I kid you not. I kid you not. Those are things that I'm paying attention to. Tokenized kilowatt in about 1 week. Look at that. Imagine being able to take empty space. I have a backyard. All my kids are older, so we don't use the backyard for that much. So I'd really like to build it out. Went to my friend's house yesterday. Oh my God. His backyard looks beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm like, I have the space to do that. I have the space to be able to do it. And I'm kind of like, oh man. Just saying, there are things that we could look into, but SMRs is anything having to do with energy is going to be huge. Not just SMRs, energy itself, the creation of, the transport of. Huge. Huge. That's right, commodity. Big time. Big time. You want to know where families are going to start being able to make money? Whether it be because they, rent a solar system, put it on their house, and they make money by not having to pay electricity bills, or if they can afford to go finance their own solar and sell energy to like their neighbors. There are ways to make money. There are ways to make money. Even for me, the simplest thing to do, take your electric bill now, or what it used to be before you had solar. Take that difference now and don't touch it. Put it away. Go invest it. Continue living the way you've been living as if you were still paying that electric bill. Put that money away. Go make it work for you. If you still have a mortgage, once a year, after that money's working for you, cut a check to pay down your mortgage, pay down the principal. Huge. Now, for somebody like me that thinks that there's going to be a recession, no, I can't put a time frame on it, but I think there is going to be a recession. I think with all these companies laying people off and then claiming H-1B visas because there aren't enough people in the United States to cover these jobs, I think it's bullshit. I think that we're going to be headed toward a recession, and it's going to be induced by big businesses' greed. And then you have, after May of next year is when I think the recession is going to hit, actually, because I think inflation is going to skyrocket because they're going to unnecessarily drop the interest rates, and you see where that leads to. So that's what I'm thinking. ERCOT already in the house. I don't know what you mean by ERCOT. I guess I got to go look that up. Texas will be the first, then the East Coast. Electric Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT, ensures reliable electric service for 90% of the state of Texas. Yeah, except they're screwed. Texas is screwed energy-wise. I don't think so. I think Texas has issues. Yeah, I'm going to have dry powder sitting on the sideline. So the money from the electric bill, I'm just going to put that in some place where I can get to it real easy. And I'm just going to wait. Just going to wait. Cash is king. Remember that. Cash is king. So when things start shooting up, that's what I'm going to be looking at. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, smash the likes. Tell your friends about us. We want to grow this community. We've grown up to be about 16,400, right? And we're looking to get to 25,000 by the end of the year. So if you can help us with that, be greatly appreciated. Everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust.